They yell at me for being late, only to later tell me to shut up, because I'm yapping too much, you know? Can't win with these motherfuckers! Jeez! Holy! Hey, hurry up and shut the fuck up. Okay, guys, don't worry. Yeah, I got you. Don't worry. Hey, don't worry. Holy! What the fuck, dude? What is happening right now? I'm seeing some wild shit in the chat. My God. My God. Anyway, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's the week been? How's the week been? Let me turn that music down a little bit. Probably hear me better. How's the week been, everybody? I still look like death. I'm just going to warn you. I still kind of look like death. I don't know. Do I sound better? Do I sound like death? Why does it seem so dark in here now? I swear to God, this thing can't make its mind up. Anyway, what up? How's everybody doing? I'm sick AF, but got out of work, so Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there you go. There you go. I didn't get out of work. Although I did kind of get out of work today. Josh, watch Peachmaker. Nice, man. Definitely. You were sounding better by the end of the stream. You were sounding better by the end of the stream Wednesday? Wait, what do you mean? Hello there, little man. What's up? Star Wars Sith, how you doing, brother? Where have I been your whole life? I don't know. Where have you been your whole life? Maybe that's the better question. What the hell? Peachmaker? Look, I'm glad some of you guys are liking Peacemaker. You know, to be fair to Peacemaker, I think it was trending this morning when I got up, which I didn't tweet about, but I'll admit it to you guys. Shalami Leaner with a 10 spot says, you saw the trailer for the new Lego Batman game. Looks great. I'm pretty disappointed. Hang on. That it's another Batman game instead of a different character. I think it looks great. I don't know. Is there a lot of fatigue on Batman games? I feel like the Arkham games were very popular, but they were like, it was years ago when those were in their heyday, yeah? Rossi says, all behold the beauty of Josh. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Man, it's just, so here's what I'll say. I'll tell you guys, we're going to have a stream today, obviously. And if you saw the thumbnail or whatever, we got some shit we're going to get into. We're going to talk about Disney and how they fucked it all up for the past 5 years. Here's the thing, okay? I just want to say this now. I'll say this again when we get into the actual segment because it's important that people that watch the clip understand this as well. I've had a tough week, you know? I'm feeling exhausted, feeling tired, feeling sick. And so if I'm a little bit curt or even maybe flagrant today, it's because I am a giant asshole, but also it is because I am tired and sick and stuff a little bit. So you gotta kind of filter it all through. You know what I mean? Let's just, with all the context, let's give it the context that is needed. Because some of you are going to be like, I can't believe he said that shit. I can't believe he said that shit. Josh and Peacemaker Season 3 orgy win. What the fuck? Oh my God. Thailand. Zarost6672. Would you guys change your names back already? I don't know why you guys all decided to change your names. I've just started Eisenhorn by Abnett. Loving it. Thanks for getting me into Warhammer. Oh, you're welcome, brother. Dude, Abnett's incredible. And that series is incredible. I've read 4 of those books. I took a little break from that series because I obviously want to get to the Beckwin stuff. I took a little break from that series and I've been reading like the Dark Imperium series, but I'm actually taking a break from that to read the Cypher book. Do you guys ever do this? You just kind of need like a little bit of different flavor. I don't know. Do people read different books at the same time and then just like stop one and go? Maybe it's just my ADD. Space Tricks as the Night Primarch says, who fought with RDJ on set? Also played my first 40K. Yo, how'd the game go, man? I remember my first game of 40K, I just got the shit kicked out of me. I'm sure that's pretty much everybody's experience, but damn, I got the shit kicked out of me for a couple of years playing that game. What was the other part of your question? Oh, who fought with RDJ on set? I don't think it was RDJ, actually. I don't think it was RDJ. Maybe it was, though. Imperial Knights versus Orc. Fungus burns well. 1,500 points. Nice. Oh, yeah. You're the guy. I don't mean to be rude here. You probably don't care if I say this, but you're the guy that painted your knights pretty shittily. And I was like, bro, take your time. Don't just get a bunch of knights and paint before you know how to paint. And you're like, fuck that. And you just threw a bunch of paint on your knights. Hey, it's all good. They still work on the table. You know? They look, those first ones you did look so bad, bro. Anyway, I'm hearing the fight was Kelsey Gramma and Pedro. Oh yeah, maybe, who knows? Wahama! Yeah. Good morning, baby bird. Good morning to all. I'm hoping to recover over the weekend and get back to normal next week, man. Would love to not be sick. Y'all ever been sick? It's not that chill. Can you use paint remover? You can. It's a tough, tricky thing. They call it stripping it. I think it's like polypropylene alcohol or some shit. Like you can basically, people can strip minis. In fact, there is a dude out there that restores old minis for people. And he's actually awesome, man. He'll take, cause he does this like narrative part to it as well while he's doing it. And so like the images on screen are of him stripping the thing and painting it, making it look a lot more badass. But then he's like telling this cool story about how, you know, we love these old little pieces of plastic or metal, and they, you know, they bring so much joy to us. He brings this like esoteric side to the hobby in his narratives that he does for his content. I think it's super cool. Forget his name though. Get an ultrasonic cleaner. What does that mean? Like for my blood? Culture war, hell yeah. Oh dude, we're gonna piss so many people off today. Oh my god. No, I actually think we're at a point where most people are gonna see exactly where I'm coming from. Yeah, I don't remember the channel's name, man. I wish I did. Something restored, maybe? I don't know, just look up like restored Warhammer minis. I bet it'll pop up. These pieces of art will crush your yellow mustard, man. And remember, I'm making new ones with melted beer cans. Bad paint does bonus patch damage. What the fuck? That's awesome, man. Good for you. Love the attitude. Josh, care to elaborate about your beard care routine? I mostly just use beard balm. Just like standard beard balm. You know? Trim it up a little bit here and there. The hair needs a trim for sure. Finto says, do you think all of the set picks being released for Brand New Day are building a different type of hype? It being official has a real different buzz around it, and the hype is 100%. They need to do this more. Yeah, I certainly think they've tapped into some good energy with the marketing for Spider-Man so far. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And if it is effective, yeah, double down. Oh, psycher damage, right. Can you make your mustache a handlebar? I can, but it's a little too short right now. I've done it before. Like maybe like do like some tiny wings. Maybe some tiny wings. But yeah, I've had that before, man. I've waxed that shit out. Woo, get a nice curl on there. I'm hearing so many conflicting things. About what? Shave it off? Nah, I'm good, bro. Look it up if needed, but do you think we will ever see a female character in the MCU disguised like White Rabbit or Peacemaker last night? Look it up? No, I'm good. Thanks for the 5, though. Returned to college at 28 years old, certified unk. You did? Good for you, brother. Good for you, man. Good for you. I dropped out of college like 4 or 5 times. You know? Just on my path. Just doing my thing. Happy 38 months. Been a part of such a dope community, Josh. I feel you've really been bringing the juice recently. Keep it up. Been reading comics heavy recently. Do you have a dream artist for Unity? Oh, man, maybe like Greg Capullo. Man, there's a lot of artists I admire that would be cool to get like a take on Unity. I actually, we got some really cool artists. So I did that Batman Ashcan a couple of years ago, which I think is dope. Actually, I want to publish that on a website. But I got that guy to do like some of his version of the Unity characters for like art that eventually will ship with Unity, little bonus thing. And I loved his interpretation. He has a style very similar to Daniel Warren Johnson. So something like that could be cool too, to see what Daniel would do. Yeah. Steve McTee says, Josh, I really appreciate what you do. You give me all my nerdy news so I can live completely social media free. Life is good. Much love. Yeah, I take on that burden for you. I take on that burden. I swim with the sharks. I sift through the shit. And we give it back to you, the people. It was time to shake things up. There you go. Okay. Have you heard anything about the main villain for Spider-Man Brand New Day? No, but I have 3 things written down for my notes today, ladies and gentle beings. 3 things on this piece of paper right here, okay, right? Number 1, how Disney fucked everything up. Number 2, Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. And number 3, Kang is back. And we will get into that Kang shit, because that, I think, is the secondary villain of Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I have some reasons why I think that. So we'll get into that. I wasn't reading heavily. Oh, okay. Yeah. There'll be plenty of time to get the book. The Kickstarter people get the book first, and then we'll make it available for other people. How long have you had that style of hair? I don't know, since I popped out, bruh. There's a straw in frame. Very unprofessional. Jonathan Majors Kang? No, I don't think so. Heard Feige and ScarJo got into a fist fight on set and Kevin got laid out. Damn! Dude, Kev. You gotta learn how to fucking do a 1-2 and defend that shit. Keep your hands up, son. God damn. I like the straw. Do you really like the straw? Or are you just pointing things out in the frame and saying you like them? Okay, should we get into this Disney shit, man? Should we get into this Disney shit? Should we just get into this? A question. Is the entire Warhammer taking place only in one galaxy or the entire universe? Most of the story takes place in a singular galaxy. There are other galaxies, and there are beings that extend past the galaxies, like the Tyranids, but humanity itself does not know a lot about what is outside of the galaxy. I believe the Necrons probably do. Maybe the Eldar. Humanity probably not, though. What if Doom was an aberration and was only a figment of the multiverse correcting itself? That's kind of a fun idea. I think something like that could work. I like that, man. I could see the altercation between cast being Florence Pugh and Vanessa Kirby or Brie Larson. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Do they have some beef? Do they have some beef? I have an entire drawer filled of straws. Is that a euphemism? Disney is about to try to buy Warhammer. I mean, maybe. I don't think so, dude. I think Bezos has that shit locked up. I mean, Bezos started TRT, got jacked as fuck, and was like, you know what? Warhammer. Now, he did fuck up that Lord of the Rings thing. I'll be honest. I think, I think there's some issues there. But there's a lot of other stuff that's going really well for Amazon right now. Okay, perhaps we should get into this. Let's talk about this. Let's get into it, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? It is time. So I want to say again, I'm tired. I'm sick, man. I had a fucking week. It's been tough. And so, you mix all these things together, cold medicine, exhaustion, generally just being an asshole, and a bitterness towards corporation that destroyed the brands and franchises that I loved as a child. And we arrive at the space and the place that we are today. And this isn't like one of those things where I'm just going to pull this out of my ass or make this a thing continuously for no reason. The reason I'm talking about this today, and the reason that I wanted to make the majority of the stream focusing on this, is because there was an article that came out in the Hollywood Trades yesterday. I'm sure many of you saw it. If you saw the article that I'm speaking about, put a 1 into the chat. The article that came out yesterday was about how Disney is basically desperate to get young male audience back. And it's an interesting article. There's some interesting like couching and some stuff in there. But I think the reason that so many people like myself are interested in talking about this is because it's somewhat of an ironic article, if you know what's going on. And I thought it was a great opportunity to just kind of explain the take that I've had for the longest time, because I think that it's the correct one. You know what I mean? And I don't have to like really have notes or even really think too hard about this, because I'm in somewhat of a unique position, as this job has placed me, frankly, annoyingly close to almost all of the parts of this story. So I've seen firsthand, working like multiple and many hours a day in a week for 5 to 6 years, basically covering Disney brands. I mean, the majority of what I do is cover Marvel and Star Wars. And so I've seen the highs and the lows. I've seen the fall. I've been there the entire time. And every little story that has popped out here and there as this has developed over the past several years, I've been intimately close to. So, like, in some ways, this is just the same shit I've been saying forever, but now with a reason, because the proof is somewhat in the pudding. I mean, Disney, according to the article, guys, Disney is so desperate to get young males to their brand and to feel better about Disney that they're actually like telling agents and people in Hollywood to try anything, including pitching original IP, which Hollywood is usually pretty averse to. Okay, so Disney is like, they're like, this is a thing that is happening. And the article somewhat makes it almost seem like Disney does not think they can actually course correct Star Wars or Marvel. Or at the very least, it implies that there's some doubt within Disney that they can actually rehabilitate those brands to bring males back. And so that's like part of why they're trying to acquire all of this new IP. Now, one of the things I wanted to do here, just to kind of illuminate this whole situation, was doing a bit of research on this, right? Because the thing that makes this ironic, I'm going to pull up several articles here. Here's a Bloomberg article. Here's a Wall Street Journal article. Here's an Adweek article. Here's an LA Times article. Here's a Wall Street Journal article. And I'm going to pull all of these articles over for you. We are not going to go over every single part of these articles, but there's a point that we have to make. The reason this article, the one from yesterday, not these articles, these are all from 2009. The reason the article yesterday is ironic is because it was the fucking consensus within the business community that Disney acquiring Marvel and then acquiring Star Wars, but we're just going to focus on the 2009 articles, was for this reason. And it's weird because, like, I know there's probably just because of, like, the culture war and internet brain and all of that sort of stuff, there's a tendency for people to look at all of this through filters, lenses, and bias and all of that. And I totally get it, right? But at the end of the day, like, if you're just, like, a reasonable person that has been paying like almost any amount of attention here, you know what it is. The consensus in 2009, when Marvel was being purchased, was that, oh, these are like all behind paywalls now? Oh, this is so crazy. The Adweek one, even the Adweek one? Oh my God. Okay, this one's not under it. Okay. So, the consensus of the business community, and I found various articles that talk about this, seemingly now all behind a paywall. This one's not, even though it's trying to get me to pay as well. These all were written around the time of the purchase of Marvel. And this is all so crazy to me. Every single one of these institutions within the business community agreed that this was a move to court a male audience towards the Disney brand. And we've talked about this before because Disney traditionally, as a company, before Marvel and before Star Wars, which is frankly like before a lot of yours times, like some of you came into the fandom. There's a lot of like young people in the fandom these days that literally like don't even necessarily remember Disney before they had like Marvel and Star Wars. But Disney always did better with females. The parks, the merchandising, their brands, you know, whether it was just the Disney movies, Disney princesses, you know, whatever it was, Disney did very well with female demographics. And there's this whole part of Disney's identity where Bob Iger starts making these purchases, which was really uncommon. Like, this was not something that they ever really did, whether it was Disney himself or the Eisners or any of the like early founding, you know, bigwigs at Disney. That was not what they did. Iger switched the culture and started purchasing like Pixar and your Marvel and your Star Wars. Pixar probably not specifically for a male audience, but Marvel obviously was. That's the consensus of the business community. And so the article yesterday is ironic because what literally happened was Disney buys these brands to bring males to their larger ecosystem. And literally 10 years later, 20 years later, whatever it is, right? When did they buy them both? Like 09? That's 1 to 10 to 16 years ago. And Disney's Star Wars was probably 2012, so like 13 years ago. In about a decade, they fucked those brands up so bad and changed them that they're now in the exact same spot that they were when they first bought those brands. Like, isn't that crazy? And here's like what happened, right? There was this idea, there was this concept that although they had purchased Marvel and Marvel and Star Wars, and these were, you know, more male brands or whatever, there was still just this idea, and I don't know if this was a Disney thing. I think it probably was a little bit of a Disney thing because there's some comments from Iger even very early on talking about how Marvel transcends like age, gender, and all these sort of things, which I think was just because there were concerns from shareholders and people that literally Marvel was too edgy, too mature for Disney. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was definitely a thing. So there's some evidence that like, even though this was clearly done to bring males in, they still like wanted I guess what you would call a Dragon Ball fusion dance. They were like, okay, so yes, this will bring males in and they're going to stay forever, right? Because they love Marvel and Star Wars. And if we take these brands and we try to appeal more to females, it'll mesh better with the overall Disney brand. We'll see a crossover from our already established female audiences into these other brands, which just will, raise revenue in all the ways they're already spending money, which to a degree did work, frankly. You know, Grogu and Star Wars shit and lightsabers and all that sort of stuff, right? They did this. The issue became, I think, ideological capture and just politicizing this thing, because this was also at a big time of, you know, like just transformation of the social conversations. A lot of these norms and things were falling apart. People were challenging all these ideas and the culture war was raging. And I think the biggest mistake that Disney made, and this is Kathleen Kennedy, but also Kevin Feige, although I don't think he made the mistake to the same degree that she did. The mistake was to do this fusion dance, okay? And then as male fans that literally, again, made these brands worth billions of dollars, were giving feedback or vocalizing resistance to these ideas, Kathleen Kennedy and a lot of people from Lucasfilm chose to like publicly shame and admonish these people. And not just that, but then signal that the brand of Star Wars, the literally the brand of Star Wars, was moving towards a female-centric vision, right? And I'll talk about one thing here, and it has to do with my friend Drunk 3PO and Jay. You know, a long time ago, I had him on a podcast. I did a podcast. I did like a bunch of interviews. I think I did one with Paul too. They were actually pretty good. I think I only did like 5 of them because you guys know me and, well, let's just say I don't always follow through on shit, right? So I just kind of stopped doing that. But I remember one of the reasons I wanted to talk to Jay was because I wanted to explain to people that weren't aware, like, how did the fandom menace, or how did these like anti-Disney channels and movements, how did they actually get started? Because I think there was this perception for a lot of people that people that just always hated Disney, or maybe they just always hated women, or they hated, you know, progressive things, you know, they're very, very bad people. Those people just got exposed as being what they always were because of Star Wars. I truly believe that's actually what some people think happened, which is so fucking ridiculous. Okay, so let me explain what happened with Jay, because I think this will tie in how this really happened. So Jay, who at the time was literally nobody. I mean, you can argue he's nobody still, right? But at the time, definitely like nobody, right? Was literally just like on Twitter. And I think he was answering some question or like replying to somebody at Lucasfilm. I forget exactly who it was. And then this person who had a major social media following, which, by the way, do you guys remember what Twitter used to be? Do you guys remember what Twitter used to be when we had, I guess what they call now legacy verified? And you had these people that like could mobilize these massive dog piles on other people and all that. So in old Twitter, that was like definitely a thing. And this person that worked at Lucasfilm like retweeted Jay and like just said like, oh, here's another one of these people, and then got all of their followers to like dogpile Jay again. At the time, just totally random motherfucker just on there talking about Star Wars on the internet. And everybody was like, you don't like women, you're wrong think, you're fucking bad. And just this huge fucking social media dogpile on Jay. So then Jay gets this situation gets noticed by all of these other people that were similarly being attacked and shamed and admonished for vocalizing some resistance to what Disney was doing with Star Wars. And then they all like get together, and it's basically like in group, out group. They galvanize and ended up becoming a huge thorn in the side of Disney and everything moving on. So like a lot of these people, man, because I was there, man. I was there when they wrote the old lore, you know. I remember Jeremy Griggs and his transformation into Geeks and Gamers, you know, and I don't have anything against Jeremy, but I remember Jeremy being positive about The Last Jedi. You know what I mean? Like Jeremy comes out, he's positive about The Last Jedi, and then like he starts to kind of turn on it, and he's like, you know what, the more I thought about this, that's like, and then everybody was like, fuck you, Jeremy, like you're fucking horrible, whatever. And then like, what do you think that did? Like, what do you think that did? Right? So the bottom line is this: the real fuck up for Disney was not just that they made a mistake. Companies can make a mistake, dude. Like you can make a mistake and then you can course correct, and usually you have to bring in like a crisis team or, you know, do some crazy PR thing. You know, Shane Gillis and Bud Light comes to mind. Like there's ways to address branding and business mistakes, like of course. But what happened with Disney specifically, but really Star Wars, and we'll talk about Marvel in a second or two, but what really happened with Star Wars was they didn't just make that decision. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to try to attract female audience. It was that the resistance to that was framed as toxic, wrong, and bad. And then they like used the actual power of the brand to like elevate voices in the community and push narratives in the actual fandom in order to like not like take this idea and run with it, drive them out of the fandom, really make it a lot worse. And that was, I think, the real crux of the downfall of that brand of Star Wars. And I think that Marvel, you know, the big difference between Marvel and Star Wars is that Kevin Feige has never come out and actually said any silly, stupid shit about this. You know, it's one of the things that is good about Kevin is that he mostly kind of keeps out of it. We hear like some things about like what he says, this, that, second, and the third. But like, for instance, you know, Kathy came out and said all kinds of crazy shit. And Kathy's lieutenants came out and said all kinds of crazy shit. I mean, J.J. Abrams went on the fucking Colbert Show and just said that there were people mad at him in this because Han Solo gave the Millennium Falcon to a girl. And it's this like hand-wavy, dismissive, like, oh, you just don't like girls kind of an attitude. And I'm telling you right now, like that became their actual cultural identity. That was Lucasfilm's identity, was that. So that's like beyond trying to just court a female audience or expand your brand. That is way fucking beyond that, right? And it got to the point where it became so dysfunctional to even like talk about this or discuss this that I mean, you just have a ton of people defending all sorts of really weird, sloppy things and ideas, and then kind of categorizing it or like bad jacketing it as toxic, horrible, sexist, all of these things. Which, I mean, like, I think any reasonable person could understand that, like, if you just don't like something and then you get said that, like, oh, actually, the reason you don't like that is because you're a bad person, that's probably going to be pretty irritating, right? And by the way, even if it were true, that's not what you do with business. Like, that's just the silliest, stupidest idea that you could ever do with business. Now, some would say, by discussing this, by bringing this up, by making this point, I am saying that the people who claim get woke and go broke are right. You know what I mean? I saw this on Twitter yesterday. People were like, so you're basically saying get woke and go broke. And that's not true either. That's just another one of those internet brain takes. That's not what I'm saying. Because there are plenty of brands, there are plenty of products that are maybe woke or basically have a audience that is more interested in, you know, progressive ideologies or whatever, right? So like Rihanna has a brand of shader and makeup that is all about inclusivity for darker skinned and different tone skinned women within the realm of beauty. And it is incredibly successful. If that brand were to not be about inclusion and try to like go more right wing or whatever, that's like equally as stupid, right? So a brand needs to understand what it is. A brand needs to understand who its customers are. And it's like this whole, like when you try to get into the weeds with this and you try to make it about all these things that it is just not about, I mean, consumer behavior is pretty fucking simple, dude. So there's been this ongoing thing where, I mean, I've watched the fucking collapse firsthand, and I've seen all the stupid takes. I've seen all the terrible people. And here's the thing, though. The people on social media, they're not really to blame. They're doing damage, but they're not really to blame. Kathleen Kennedy is to blame because there has to be an adult in the room. Like what PR is, and I remember getting into this with Theory as well, because there was a person that was PR for Lucasfilm and she retired. And I remember we did a Nerd Theory episode and Theory was, you know, just congratulating her and being like, oh, you know what? I think she did a good job. And I was like, what? Bro, no. This lady was terrible. This lady's actually a part of why it all got fucked up, because what a PR person is supposed to do is after you say something or after something gets misconstrued, right? A PR person is the type of person, like, for instance, let's say you're the new Captain America, and you say that Captain America shouldn't necessarily represent America's ideals. And then Fox News does a 48-hour news cycle about how the new Captain America doesn't like America. The PR person is supposed to give you a new quote, and then you go and jump out of an airplane with a bunch of Marines to try to alleviate that narrative, right? That's PR. PR is like, oh, shit, you just said fuck America? Brother, you're Captain America. Go jump out of a plane. What I'm trying to tell you is there should have been somebody at Lucasfilm that was like, oh, hey, you said this thing, and now there's a bunch of people like freaking out about it. You know, maybe just say it a little bit better. Another example is James Gunn, who actually handled the shit perfectly. You know, his brother said some wild shit. I forget what it was exactly. It was something like, I think everybody that doesn't like that I'm in this movie hates immigrants or something. I forget the exact quote. Anyway, Gunn gets asked about it directly, and he gives a really good fucking answer, which he did not come up with. and that's good. Like, brother, you got to play ball. You got to play the game. Okay? So Gunn gives this, like, really, like, this movie's just for everybody bullshit answer. But that's the right fucking answer. That's the right fucking answer. And it's like Hollywood's finally figured this out. The tide's finally turning. The question is, like, are these brands cooked? In this regard, are these brands actually cooked, or can they be turned around? And I'm going to be honest with you. I think they can turn it around. I think they can turn it around because, look, Star Wars is maybe in a little bit more of question, especially because it does seem like they're going to just double and triple down on Rey. You know what I mean? And, like, frankly, you even look at a guy like Dave Filoni, who I respect tremendously, but even his comments about, like, the pushback to female characters and stuff, because he said this at like a women's conference in like 2016 or whatever. But like, dude, those comments are indicative of not understanding what's going on, you know? So you look at Kathy and you look at Dave and you're just like, I don't know, man. I don't know if they're going to get it. And frankly, maybe they're happy enough with whatever of the hardcore, like basically Disney yesterday, this whole article about how they're like approaching new IP and stuff, brother, they might have some really smart people telling them they'll never change it. That Star Wars has been irrevocably changed. And it doesn't matter how many Ryan Gosling type motherfuckers you put into a movie, it might be irrevocably changed, which is why they might be courting other IP. Marvel, on the other hand, specifically because they never really, again, Feige never really came out and made this statement. And because I actually have heard that behind the scenes, Feige's way more open to admitting they tried a thing and it didn't work as compared to Kathleen. I believe they're going to switch it. I think they will turn it around. And I think Punisher, and I think just some of the stuff we're hearing about what they're planning, I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that Marvel gets it. And they're going to just pull that back a little bit. It doesn't mean it's going to become a total boys club, no girls allowed. It just means we're going to do stuff understanding what audience there is and what potential audience there is. Because the other side of this is that female audience that they courted didn't even show up. And I'm not trying to be rude. That's just facts, bro. Look at the numbers. And I'm not talking about just the Marvels, although the Marvels is maybe the most shining example, but look at the demos of all the Marvel movies this year. Brother, they put Florence Pugh Pugh front and center in that shit, Sue Storm front and center in that shit. Look at the data. They didn't show up. They didn't show up. There's a great many of them that are on Twitter and make it seem like they're this huge part of the fan base. Follow the money. Disney would not be doing what they're doing behind the scenes right now if there wasn't a problem, and we wouldn't be seeing in the actual demos that it didn't work if it worked. Right? So, I don't know. I guess just for the sake of like, I told you so, wanted to touch on this, wanted to talk about this, and just wanted to kind of like stake my point again. And I guess maybe the last thing that I would say about this before we can move on is that it wasn't just Jay. You know, it wasn't just the fandom menace. It wasn't just all of these other people. It was me. Like, I got attacked. Little old me. You know, I got so much shit. And there are people to this day that, like, on Twitter will call me like, you know, an ist or a phobe or bad or wrong thing. I was like, to this day, bro, to this day. And if you bring my name up on Reddit, just watch what happens. You know what I mean? And all, like, legitimately, all I've tried to do over the past 5 years was, first off, like, kind of try to call it out. And then, like, just tell you what I think was actually happening. And after so much time, so much shit being completely misunderstood, it's just now, like, obvious. Like, that is what it is. Super obvious now. So I'll take my apologies. And yeah, that's what it is. Any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? That was 26 minutes. Why didn't somebody stop me? That's a lot of yapping. Oh my God. 26 minutes? What the fuck? Chat. Somebody should have stopped me. My God. "26 minutes? I apologize for nothing." You had some thoughts, bro. I did have some thoughts, yeah. What do you guys think, man? I mean, we all know that's what it is, right? God damn, I'm so sick of all these motherfuckers that don't just see it. You know? God. Disney went into the warp world of one. Yeah. Don't mind it. Yet people who are clamoring for... okay, yeah. Is that the average runtime of a Doug episode, huh? Pretty interesting. Well, it's obvious what's going on. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, man. I think it's pretty obvious. And I think it just gets misconstrued, you know? And everybody wants to, like, apply this narrative to it. It's very frustrating. Unban the Dan. All right. Hit me up later with this shit, man. I can't do this in the middle of a stream. It feels like they do a disservice to the female characters by making them overly filled with stereotypes, progressive politics, etc. Type of thinking doesn't go into male characters, it seems. Whew, yeah. You know what I think? I think people... Dude, by the way, did y'all watch that Red Letter Media video? Mr. Plinkett? Mr. Plinkett came back to drop a banger, man. Did y'all watch that? Gorgnak says, throw out the whole regime and bring in competent directors to make KOTOR. Only way back, I think. Yeah, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Man, I loved that video. Mr. Plinkett. Also, I don't know how I feel because I wasn't in that video at all. There's so many other content creators, but frankly, like, I don't really talk about Star Wars. And I left Nerd Theory. So I can't really blame them for not putting me in there because I was basically like, yo, fuck that. And I've been out, right? But I thought that homie made an incredible point because, look, you got to understand, this dude hates the prequels. This dude made a 13-part series absolutely shredding apart the prequels. And it's fucking cinema, dude. It is like magic. Like, you got to really have some butthurt to make as good of content as he did shredding the prequels. Okay? And for him to admit in that video that the prequels are looking better these days was interesting. And he says it's because, and I loved when he said this, he said, it seems like the audiences today would rather have flawed art than shiny, polished corporate crap. And I think that's really what it is. You might not like the prequels, but damn sure that was an artist's vision. That was not some corporate... He didn't consider... I mean, that's part of why they were so controversial. It was because he didn't give a fuck what you thought about that shit, right? And I can't help but think, specifically when it comes to Marvel, that this is a little bit of the issue. That... Man, the sanitation, I just don't understand it, you know, and but it has to be a corporate consideration, right? It's Disney, right? And they're like the buttoned up family brand and all of that. Maybe that just always was going to happen. Maybe Disney was always going to take Marvel and cover up the boobs. You know what I mean? Like maybe they were just always going to have the male characters get lectured a little bit too much or whatever. Like, I don't know. His Acolyte POV was interesting, but bad is bad. Yeah, and you know what? Here's what I'll say about that too. I got so much shit for supporting the Acolyte's first 2 episodes. Do you guys remember this? What's up, Rob? I got so much shit because I liked the first 2 episodes of Acolyte. And a lot of you guys were like, how can you like this? I got told by all the people that think for me to not like it. Therefore, I don't like it. Am I being rude in that statement? Yes, a little bit. But some of y'all like, that's dead ass what it is. Anyway, the reason I liked the first 2 episodes was because it actually felt like the prequels. And not just like it felt like it was a part of the prequel era, but like it felt like it was taking things, mythic, thematic ideas from Star Wars, and like actually playing with those concepts in a way that felt on point for the feeling of Star Wars. I think that's what I kept saying. I kept saying it feels like Star Wars. And some of you guys were like, but the anti-woke channel said bad. How could you? You know? And then episode 3 happened, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, this is ass. And the truth about Acolyte, I think, is it's just bad. Now, tone can be correct, and narrative can still be bad. I'll say that again. Tone can be correct, and yet narrative can still be bad. Right? And that's just what it was. And not just bad, but like sloppy. The truth of Acolyte is this. I think that I think there's a far more radical version of Acolyte on the cutting room floor. And Dave Filoni came in and hacked that shit apart. And kind of pulled it closer to the theme of actual Star Wars. And unfortunately, even though he might have been correct, that is actually corporate polish. That's actually corporate bullshit. And so therefore, Acolyte's greatest sin is that it's just really not that good. And it's really sloppy, especially towards the end, right? But even still, I probably wouldn't have said yes to her pitch, right? Because, like, you know, she said in interviews and shit that almost nobody in the room went for that pitch. Do you remember that? Leslie Headland, like, literally said almost nobody in the room liked my pitch except for Kathleen Kennedy. And we all, like, raised an eyebrow like the fucking Rock, bro. We were just like, excuse me? Yeah, but it was interesting that he made that point about Acolyte, yeah. Any other thoughts about Disney? Do they fuck it all up? Can they get it back? What do you guys think? R2-D2 is a lesbian. Yeah, well, it wasn't just that she said that. She said she thought it was canon. She's clever, man. It makes sense. They're struggling. Yep. By the way, Rob, I had a little conversation with our mutual acquaintance, Bo DeMeo, about this as well. Yep, they fucked it all up. But again, you can fuck up and you can get it back. I think Kathy's uniquely horrible because she made it worse. That's the big difference, yeah. That's what happens when you take 2 male-centric IPs and force them to be Princess Brands. Yep, 100%. Of course. And like, bro, there were all these people that were trying to tell me, and there were a lot of people trying to tell me, oh, they didn't buy Marvel to appeal to male brands. Guys, I just showed you all those different articles. Like, it was the consensus of the business fucking community in 2009 that that's exactly what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is so silly. And then, like, I would ask people just on the basis of logic, right? Because some people were like, what do you mean they were trying to appeal to... That's not what they were doing. Well, I would ask you then, what would you do if you were a president of a company or a CEO in charge and you wanted more of a female audience? What would you do? Like, how would you approach that problem? And I think if you're honest with yourself, you'd be like, I'd probably do more female characters, You know, I'd probably have more female stars. I'd probably put some stuff, some slight messaging here and there that, you know, kind of went away from the male gaze, you know, like all these ideas. And then you think to yourself, oh, wait, so all the shit they did for the last 5 years? Like, come on, man. Like, just, if you're not going to be fair, and like, I get it. Here's the thing. The internet doesn't have to be fair. You know what I mean? Like, the audience doesn't have to be fair. Twitter doesn't have to be fair. But the executives need to make the right decisions for what the market is. That's their job, right? In a sense, they have to be fair. Shalami Leaner with a $20 holla. That is very generous, man. Says, there was a time where I was extremely excited to see characters like X-23, Emma Frost. Now with everything that has come out, I don't want to see them anywhere near the MCU. Yeah, and you know, like for a lot of people, like people might hear you say that and scoff at that idea. Like people might hear you say that and be like, oh, how could you? You're that sexist? You don't understand that these characters are actually the good ones? Oh, you pig. You know what I mean? But none of that shit matters. What matters is that's probably honest. And it'll affect your consumer behavior. So it doesn't matter what your opinion of the morality behind the action is. The market is the market is the market. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? You know, if you want to be a, you know, political, or you want to be an activist, or you want to do something like, dude, by all means. We're talking about publicly traded companies. We're talking about mass appeal entertainment. We're talking about IP that matters to a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's just silly how all of those ideas got tangled together or convoluted. But I think it was really just done for social currency. Like, people want social currency. And they want the ability to, like, chime in on these topics and have that currency. It's all so silly, man. There's definitely some involvement from content creators that influence things. Well, I'd love to know what you think about that, but I'll tell you this. Of course. Like, of course. But look, to me, and this is something I said to the Canadian lad who I thought had such a great take. Let me pull this up, man. Let me pull this up because you guys got to see this shit. This was actually like a really good tweet thread. Like some people actually like put their thinking cap on and got into this thread. You know what I mean? Like, so I really like what the Canadian lad said here. He said, the one thing I've realized is this. Look at how the MCU began. Iron Man 1, a billionaire playboy trying to do good. Incredible Hulk, a genius scientist that becomes a monster. Thor, an actual god with a big-ass hammer. Captain America, a scrawny kid that turned into a super jacked super soldier. If a franchise kicks off with stories like these, it's no surprise that the majority of the audience ends up being male. Yeah, not saying women don't enjoy them too, which at the time I think they did, which is like the Reacher effect, which is like, how does Reacher become such a big fucking show without women? It can't. It can't. But it's a male-centric show that a lot of women just come along for the ride with. You know what I mean? Not saying women didn't enjoy them. Just think about it like this. Male viewership who were 15 when Iron Man 1 came out were 29 by the time She-Hulk dropped. A show with almost zero substance. If someone just enjoyed Iron Man 1 at 15, that's their appetite, they certainly wouldn't enjoy something like She-Hulk with that terrible writing at age 29. And I would add to that She-Hulk decided to take shots at some of the very people that went to see Iron Man 1 when they were 15. She-Hulk had this very unique fucking up its own ass attitude where it would make fun of, you know, the incels and then get butthurt when they got mad at the show. Oh my God, it was like an Ouroboros of stupidity. That show and that whole fucking thing. But anyway, and then he goes on to say, the point is this. If your company makes a bad formula and 99% of your customers are kids, you can't be upset to try to force equilibrium by boosting adult consumers. That's not how targeted products work. Some things were made with a specific audience in mind, and that's okay. How is this novel? Like, how is this novel? And yet it is, because there's so much of the stupid motherfuckers around. Okay, and here's what I said, too, in response, because I think this part's important. This is what I was trying to get at with Jay. Yep. And by politicizing the issue, it's not a political issue. It's not. But by politicizing the issue, all they did was galvanize a group of fans who were literally giving them money into an otherized internet cult devoted to their downfall. That didn't happen on its own. That happened because of Disney. All the anti-woke channels, that whole group, it was like the Streisand effect. By Disney and all these people that want to like support Disney, like going after those channels and like trying to admonish those channels and making them seem like wrong think and all this sort of stuff. All you did was galvanize that. And people like Jay, who were literally just out there like, you know what, I don't think I like The Force Awakens. It's kind of whack or whatever. And then people are like, look at this sexist. And then it's like 70,000 likes or whatever. Then Jay finds people willing at the very fucking least to defend him. And now, did they lean into it? Yes, they did. Frankly, you know what I mean? Like I watched all that happen. You know, again, I watched Jeremy, I watched The Pivot, I watched it all. Like people leaned into it, right? But they don't lean into it without the public shame, without like this in-group, out-group thing, without like all the bullshit that kind of was like a hand-me-down from Kathleen Kennedy and her personal feelings about all of this stuff. If that doesn't happen, you don't even get the fandom menace. You don't get anti-woke channels. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, do the influencers play a role in this? Yes. But they were created. They got power because of stupid decisions made by people with power at Lucasfilm, Marvel, etc. So, yeah, but this thread was great. You know what I mean? Like, we had some really thoughtful responses in this thread. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. All right. Anything else we want to touch on this, guys? Because I don't want to talk about Doctor Strange and Doom. I want to talk about Kang. And then I got to get out of here, man. I don't know. Hopefully I'll be better by next week. Do I sound terrible? Do I sound just okay? Glassing over creators? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. You said okay? Yeah, but do I sound okay? Sound normal? Okay. It feels raspy, but maybe it's not. Sounds sexy AF. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Maybe I sound a little more like Rob today. Disney, especially the Star Wars side, has never put these women characters in winning scenarios anyway. Exactly. 100%. Because it's not coming from a creative place. It's a corporate consideration. You know what I mean? In your audio message in the Discord earlier, you sounded like you just woke up. Yeah, it's just, maybe the more I talk, the more it like breaks it up or whatever. I don't know. No one sounds like Rob, but Rob. You know what, Rob? This might freak you out. Okay, this might freak you out a little bit. But you do kind of sound a lot like Neil deGrasse Tyson. After Kendall brought this up, I kind of have not been able to not hear it. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but it's actually a little uncanny. Like, it's kind of, and now people are probably thinking about it and they're like, oh my God. Like the cadence, everything. Yeah. Yeah, Kendall brought that up, man. Oh, really? Okay, cool. So, yeah, you're aware. You're aware. Isn't that funny how that happens, man? Isn't that funny? All right, guys. I think we can move on. I guess before we move on, though, let me just say, again, I think they could probably get this back. You know, with Star Wars, the question becomes, is Kathy really leaving in January? Is Dave going to see what's happening and adjust? If not, will somebody from Disney step in? You know? I think they can adjust back, man. The mall show is probably going to be pretty badass. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, man. You know, the leadership needs to be receptive to this problem because they're the gatekeepers. You know, Dave is going to decide what gets made and what it doesn't, you know, and maybe Kathy, even beyond her contract, will maybe play a role in that, which is scary. And then Kevin and his parliament, you know what I mean? Like, they have that. And, like, Look, man, it's a thing. It's a thing. There have been pushback. I'll give you two examples. Okay? Because some of you, by the way, is there anybody in the chat that's brave enough that they disagree with me and they don't think Disney tried to do this? Is there anybody that actually feels that way, that's brave enough to be like, I actually disagree with you, Josh? Because there's two examples I'm thinking of where I was dead ass told, and it was as clear as day that Disney did this. Doug a Ditch says with a $20 holla, stupid question, but do studios insiders get paid to leak info to people like Rocha Snyder? If not, what's the incentive when they could potentially lose their job, ruin their rep, or even get sued by their company? Yeah, it's a couple of different things. Number one, some people do get paid. Some people do get paid. Number two, some people hate the companies they work for. For sure. Some people just like clout. Yeah. All right, I'll give you two examples. So I remember when I did an interview with Emmanuel, who basically started the Recast T'Challa movement, okay? E-Man told me in no uncertain terms that he knew for sure that Disney did not want a male king of Wakanda, and that part of the reason Shuri was getting pushed was to appeal to the growing female Marvel audience. He told me in no uncertain terms that that was what was going on. Okay? The other one I probably can't say, actually. But yeah, because I'm not going to say this one, but there's another example that's just like that. Just like that. So this happened. Like this, I don't know what else to tell you. Like that happened. And again, I just think if you're just opening your fucking eyes, it's obvious that it was happening. I mean, why is the Scarlet Scarab getting powers at the end of the fucking Moon Knight show? Why is Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova playing such a big fucking role in the Hawkeye show? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just open up your eyes, bro. It was obvious the whole time. Yeah, dude, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. We know what it is. Let's see here. Somebody says I missed a soupy chat. Is Disney moving away from the woke content after the U.S. election, then showing a strong Republican red outcome across the country? Thought, is Disney moving away? I don't think that's really what it is. I know that conservatives like to say that's what it is and like take the W and like feel like that's what it is. I mean, I would say to that, and this is something that conservatives won't like to hear, but like, brother, look at those election results. They're a lot closer than y'all like to think. You know, I think a lot of people, after the election, took the winning of the popular vote, which is indeed a big deal, but ended up being like within a very, very small margin once all the votes were eventually tallied. You know, this idea that like everybody shifted way right is just wrong. That's not what happened. And I think if you look at the polling numbers for the president right now, even among his base, even some key demos that he had a real strong hold on, there's a seriously big drop off there, right? So, you know, this idea that MAGA changed Disney or whatever, I just don't buy it. However, there is obviously a relationship between the kind of people that associate with that political movement and the male-dominated brands. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, people, I don't know if it's just that people are uncharitable or biased, but like all of this stuff gets construed in these really weird ways. Like, it is true that young demos are moving in a more ideological, conservative direction, but it is also true that certain issues like gay rights and abortion and stuff have actually been on the right shifting wildly. Like that position, even on the right now, is like you'd have to find a very small group of people that actually don't like some of those things, right? So it's never as simple as like people try to make it out to be. I think at the end of the day, with what I'm talking about, it's really just more the case that a bunch of dude bros liked Marvel and Star Wars and then noticed some changes that didn't align with what they liked about it, and then were shamed and admonished and then became YouTubers. Like, that's really what happened. in my opinion. Mr. Rossi says, I blame Rob for all the political strife in our time. He's the true Doctor Doom of our era. He will bring it all down. Rob is an evil personified. Much love. Oh, okay, right. All right, we got to get into these other things. I can feel the voice slipping away from me. We got to get into these other things. I can feel the voice slipping away. All right. Let's talk about Doctor Doom in Doomsday. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually something that's got me quite excited. I feel like we've been on a bit of a roller coaster ride when it comes to Doomsday. And there was a leak. In fact, there was a leak Rob and I talked about just a couple of weeks ago, right? And Rob and I talked about this, and we were both like, fuck, man, we're kind of down about the Evans news. But there have been a lot of other leaks that have come out even since then that are giving us a better context. And I'm feeling a lot better about this movie. And one thing that has come out recently has been that, number one, Doctor Strange will be in Avengers Doomsday. Now, that's kind of a funny thing. It's kind of like a meme in the community because... Look, I'm just going to tell you what happened. And yeah, it was a bit outlandish, but I was streaming, as one does. And a bunch of people in chat started saying, guys, Doctor Strange is not in Doomsday. Doctor Strange, hey, Josh, Doctor Strange is not in Doomsday. Hey, Josh, what do you think? Doctor Strange is not in Doomsday. Are we cooked? You know, all the usual bullshit. And I'm getting fucking pissed because that's my default setting. Right? And I'm like, you better stop saying that shit, chat. And everybody's like, Doctor Strange is not going to be in. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, Doctor Strange is not going to be in. Doctor Strange is not going to be in. Doctor Strange is not going to be in. And I'm just like, ah! So I lose it, as one does. And I think I said, if that's true and they're actually reporting that Doctor Strange is not in Avengers Doomsday, I will strip naked, do a handstand, and hang dong. Check the tapes. I said that shit. I can't fucking believe it, but I said it. And then I looked at the Variety article, and the Variety article says Benedict Cumberbatch says he's not in Avengers Doomsday. And I was like, oh my God, right? I was like, oh my God. Holy shit. So I couldn't fucking believe it, bro. Anyway, luckily for us, Benedict Cumberbatch corrects the record and like a week later says, oh yeah, I forgot. I am in that movie. And I was just like, geez, okay. Anyway, point is, it's a meme over here because of that moment. But the reason I was so convinced, the reason I was willing to risk hanging dong was because like I had this idea for what Doomsday was, and it's based on, you know, a lot of rumors and leaks and scoops and everything. And I could not conceive of Avengers Doomsday happening without Stephen Strange. Okay, and part of the reason why is because if you look at Hickman's Time Runs Out, and you look at Hickman's Secret Wars, Doctor Strange plays this like really important role. He's one of the Illuminati that's willing to cross lines, and he goes outside of what the Illuminati is doing to try and correct the collapsing multiverse. He taps into all this forbidden magic. He finds all of these beings that practice this really weird form of magic with these specific words that affect reality, which is actually a lot like Annuncia from Warhammer, just so you know. Anyway, point is, Strange goes out and starts building this group of people that's wiping out all of these Earths and playing the game of worlds. And it gets to a point where Doctor Strange goes to confront Rabum Allah, the great destroyer, this shadowy figure in the background of all of what was happening, this person that had created the Black Swans, this religious figure that was out there wiping out planets and destroying worlds. Doctor Strange confronts this person in the Library of Worlds, and he gets his shit rocked, dude. They fucked him up. They killed all the Black Priests except for him. And then Stephen is brought in front of Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom's like, Stephen, you don't really know what's happening here. Let me fill you in. He tells him the whole shits. Then they start working together. They go to the end of time. They use the Molecule Man to kill the Beyonders. They siphon off the power of the Beyonders, and they recreate reality. And it is revealed on Battleworld that Dr. Doom actually offered up godlike power to Stephen. They could have shared the godlike power and ruled together. But Stephen didn't want the power. And so Doom just becomes God. And then in Battleworld, or in the Secret Wars story, Doom is the sheriff. He's the right-hand man of God Emperor Doom. And he's one of the only beings besides Doom that knows what actually happened. To everybody else, they just believe that this is just what the world has always been. Doom is God, and this has just always existed, and all of that sort of stuff. Totally get you. Legends, I'll get into that in just a second. So, anyway, point is, like, I just saw that it had to be Stephen. And then Alex Perez kept talking about how Doctor Doom and Dr. Stephen Strange are going to have some of the most important scenes in the multiversal saga. He was teasing this crazy thing with Stephen and Doctor Doom. And then just last week, or no, it was maybe earlier this week, Alex was like, don't trust Clea. Alex started talking about how Stephen was still going to pop up in the film. It had been years since anybody had seen him because he was out destroying. Well, the way Alex phrased it was he was stopping incursions at any cost, which means probably destroying Earths and shit and destroying universes. So anyway, all of that leads to a scoop recently, which came from Daniel RPK, and he said that Doctor Strange will be a villain in Avengers Doomsday. Okay? And he'll be a villain alongside Clea and alongside Doctor Doom. Now, look, the reason this is so cool is because the simplistic plot of Doctor Doom going after people that caused incursions, of Doctor Doom trying to get to Steve to stop all of the incursions and reset reality, that plot, which all of us, like me and Rob had this whole big conversation about, we're all like, not good enough, too simple, horrible way to utilize Doctor Doom, silly as fuck. That is not all there is to this story. There is something else going on. And if Stephen Strange is indeed working for Doctor Doom, it is possible that Doctor Doom had established Clea and the Black Order way before we thought. And there's going to be this whole revealed other side of this story where Doctor Doom was, frankly, playing the game of worlds, potentially even becoming Rabam Al-Lal. So to me, man, this is just like another one of these examples where, like, you know, we've been on a bit of a roller coaster ride. You know, I talked about, I think on Wednesday, I did that big stream where I talked about how I had been down on Marvel, but there's some recent stuff that's got me a little bit more excited about it. And I think this is all appropriate and understandable. I mean, Marvel's having their issues, right? As we've said at the start of this thing, it's like it got out of control, weird stuff happening. But at the end of the day, I still truly believe this is maybe one of the most exciting aspects of this whole thing. And here's one more part of this, okay? There is still technically an unnamed Marvel movie that is set to release in between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And maybe nothing will happen with that. Maybe they'll drop it completely. Maybe it's nothing. It doesn't seem like it's going to be World War Hulk. There were a lot of rumors to suggest it was going to be World War Hulk. It seems like that Hulk story is being folded into Spider-Man and then in Doomsday a bit and then in Secret Wars. Okay? I'm just going to tell you this right now. If we get Doctor Strange 3 and its time runs out, all the problems get solved. All the problems get solved. And I kept thinking to myself, but there's no way they could do a prequel and it be satisfying. However, if Doctor Strange pops up at the end of Doomsday and he's so wildly different than we remember, and the heroes are like, I can't believe that's our buddy Stephen Strange standing beside Doctor Doom telling us that all the universes need to be destroyed. If that happens and we're all just like, what the fuck is that? And then they do a whole movie that explains it, backtracks, and explains Rabam Al-Lal and Doom and all that shit, that might actually solve all the problems. That might actually fix all the fucking issues. That could be a perfect way to do a better job of establishing this whole thing. And so, look, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm doing that thing again where I'm fanboy dreaming. I'm looking at all the options, and I'm selecting my personal favorite version of what I would do, and maybe Marvel will not do that, and it's once again fans coming up with cooler ideas than Marvel will do. But even if we don't get Doctor Strange 3, we've seen the leaked concept art that has Stephen Strange hanging out with God Emperor Doom in the court, and he appears to be wearing all the shit that makes it look as though he's the sheriff. I think that was real. Does anybody doubt that that shit was real? Right? Like, does anybody doubt that that shit was real? So if that's real, and we feel like that's where we're headed, then we are going to get that payoff. We are going to get that Doctor Strange element here. And even if it's just told to us through exposition or maybe a flashback scene or this, that, second, and the third, we're still going to get that. Right? So, look, man, I just got, like, the one way I'll say it is, like, some of these scoopers, I think, like Shine, frankly, just want us to hate Marvel. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I think Shine just wants us to hate Marvel. I think Shine wants us to be bummed about Marvel. I think Shine wants us to complain and bitch and moan for a year and a half until we get into Avengers Doomsday, because I think Shine is Rob Liefeld. Or maybe somebody else that really doesn't like Kevin Feige. But, like, you see my fucking point? So we have to be careful, right? We got to be careful. We got to be careful about what do we hear? How do we frame it? What are we thinking about this movie? And look, man, if you're a fan that's scorned and you're mad and you just want to hate on Marvel, God bless you. You know what I mean? Do your thing. It's fine. But if you're over here and you're finding, like, you want to be excited for Doomsday, but then you hear some silly shit from a scooper and insider, and then you get down about it or whatever, like, brother, just look, this could be bad. This could be good. But they know it's go time. They have a lot of things they're trying to do with this movie. It's going to be very ambitious. It's going to be very crazy. Will we like it? I don't know. But if you're worried about it being, like, too simple and stupid and they didn't really try, wrong. That's not what it is. If anything, it might be too complicated, but we'll see. So, there you have it. There you have it. Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. What do you think? Chat, what do you think? What do you think? What if My Time to Shine is KK? Doubt it. I'm scorned, but I refuse to believe that Downey and the Russos came back to fuck this up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think Downey would come back unless he felt like he could really do it and really make it cool. You know what I mean? Like, frankly, he's maybe the only one that we can be certain didn't need the money and didn't need the legacy. This dude just won an Oscar. He made $500 to $600 million before the Doomsday contract from Marvel. This dude didn't need any of that noise. He would only come back, and he said in that Rogan interview all the way back in the day that it would have to be something, like, he wouldn't just put the jersey back on. It would have to be something interesting to him. You know what I mean? So, again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. We don't know. But this idea that, like, oh, Marvel went to Downey and said, we're kind of fucked, bro. Like, would you take $100 million and come back and shit on your own legacy? And Downey was like, totally. Like, get the fuck out of here. No way. No way. Did MCU Strange encourage Iron Man's sacrifice because he knew the truth about Dr. Doom? That it's going to be a lit moment with Strange and Doom talk. Bro, I cannot wait for that dialogue. Are you kidding me? Not only are these guys incredible actors, but these are incredible characters. As comic book fans, like, ooh, I need it. I need it. I need it. He better not talk like Dr. Doolittle. Well, I've already told you guys. My theory on the Dr. Doom accent for Robert is that he's going to do the, my name is Jeff. But it'll be like, my name is Doom. My name is Doom. And I can't wait. Because between both of those movies, we're looking at like 5 hours of that. That's incredible. Hi, my name is Doom. God damn, dude. You guys are lying to me. I can feel my voice falling apart. And you guys are like, no, you sound great. No, you sound great, Josh. You sound great. Keep it going. All right. One more Marvel thing here. and then I guess we'll go over the Alex Perez Q&A too. Okay. Okay. All right already. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, ready? So, I think Kang is back. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this, chat? I think Kang is back. Kang. Yeah, Kang. I think he's back. Okay, so we got to talk about this. Let me pull this shit up for you. This all has to do with casting for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Okay, and so I'll pull this up for you. We'll take a little peek skis over here, okay? It says here, breaking Spider-Man Brand New Day. Tremel Tillman has been offered or officially been cast in Spider-Man Brand New Day, okay? And I instantly shared, Kang is back. And I bet, like I would venture to say, that many of you thought I was trolling. In fact, let me know, chat. How many of you guys thought I was fooling around? I was joking. I was trolling. Throw a 1 into the chat. So I'm going to tell you why I think this is actually real. Okay? I'm going to tell you why this is actually real. I think the most important reason that this is real is that in February, it was reported that Kang was coming back and this guy was playing him. I mean, that's basically it. Stop it right there. That's basically all you need to know. And in fact, let's try to find, let me try to see if I can find this here. Maybe I can find the who reported this. I'm pretty sure it was Snyder, but I'm not 100%. Let me see if I can find this for you. Because that shit was real. I remember it. And Charles Murphy actually brought this up too. In the wake of this announcement, yes, Jeff Snyder reported this. Yep. Man, I wonder if I can find... Before news debunked, right play King the Conqueror. Yeah, people are trying to debunk this shit, but I'm telling you right now, I still don't think it's debunked. Okay, here's a quote right here. I'm told that Marvel has a plan to say goodbye to Kang. They're going to wrap him up. I think they want to give him the boot and just put to bed any... I think they're going to deal with Kang somehow. A small little thing. Probably in one of the Avengers movies. I heard Doctor Doom could be the one that kills him. Yep. And according to a reporter from February, Marvel has landed on Tillman as its new Kang. I mean, here, let me see if I can pull this up here. Just so you can see it for yourself. According to Kang... Okay, so, yeah. Although the insider cautioned that none of this should be etched in stone, it sounded like Marvel has come up with a plan to deal with Kang. Let's see here. Where's the exact quote? Oh, they don't have the quote about it. Though the multiverse saga conflicting, Kang was always a problem. According to Jeff in Snyder, Marvel has farewell for Kang in mind, and they have found an actor willing to step up into the role. Okay, so he doesn't have the quote in here, but yes, this is from February, okay? Now, how and why do I actually think this is going on? Well, context. Number one, let me just ask you this, chat. Do we know who the villain of this movie is? Is it maybe the case that the villain of this movie is like a big fucking secret? What do you think, guys? Is it a big fucking secret? This big secret villain? You heard about this? You know about this? So, in the wake of this news coming out with Tillman, people said he's a villain, but not the main villain. Do you remember just a couple of weeks ago when all the scoopers did that thing where they were all like, holy shit, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Nobody's ready for Spider-Man Brand New Day. You don't understand what Kevin's cooking for Brand New Day. You remember all this shit? You know, they all had that like reaction. You know, I love that reaction too. Like, I love being like, oh my God, I heard this fucking thing. It's crazy, but I can't talk about it. You're not ready for this. I know what it is, but you don't get to know yet. I love doing that. So they all did that. We all know Spider-Man cooking. You know, Florence Pugh, okay. Maybe Anthony Mackie, damn. You know, maybe a little Venom stuff. All these different villains. Punisher, Hulk. This is a fucking stacked movie, bro. Like, what the fuck are they doing with this movie? And yet, we keep hearing, oh, it's way crazier than you think. Oh, there's way more going on than you think. You're not ready for this. And there's this big fucking secret villain. Interesting. So, tell you what I think's going on. I think Kang will show up in this movie. He might even pretend to be somebody else. Okay, so here's the other thing you got to watch for. And you're only going to hear this from Josh from Den of Nerds because he's the only motherfucker crazy enough to bring this up. I'm the only one that's going to put you on to this. Kang could pretend to be somebody else. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of weeks, they're going to tell you who he's playing. And it's not Kang. But Kang can wear many faces and he can hide. So there's like this character of Mr. Griffin in Marvel Comics, who's like a version of Kang that like pretends to not be Kang. Kang himself has not only used like robots and like time variance authority bullshit to pretend to be other people, but he himself has pretended to be other people in the comics as well. If anything, the one thing that Kang is known for in comics is being kind of fucking shady. Like, that's kind of the thing. Whenever Kang's in a story, you immediately have to be like, well, what's actually going on here? Like, because Kang is just, he's about shenanigans. Like, that's what he is. Like, the Kang character is full of shenanigans. So anyway, if I were Marvel, I'd want to deal with the Kang thing a little bit more definitively. And I'd probably want to do that before we got into Avengers Doomsday. And I will remind you that one of the very first things that came out about this movie is that Doctor Doom was going to be in it. Not only did My Time to Shine say that Doctor Doom was going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, although she probably framed it as slop. Not only did that happen, but the documentation that was first filed for this from Sony literally said that RDJ's Doctor Doom was going to be in the movie. So let me just tell you what I think is going on. I'm going to sort of call my shot, right? You know, like Babe Ruth used to come out, point out into the stands, knock the ball into the stands. We'll see. Maybe I'll get this one wrong. But I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to call my shot. Here it is. Ready? Kang is the secondary villain. Doctor Doom is the primary villain. And Doctor Doom will kill Kang in this film. And then we'll get into Doomsday. Kang will be dealt with. Doctor Doom will be a little bit more established. And then they'll cook. Yup. That's what I think it is. That's what I think it is, ladies and gentlemen. Destin was also going to direct the Kang Dynasty, yes. And now he's directing this, so yeah. Where does Hulk and Punisher fit into that? Well, here's what I'll say. There's something about Peter and the spell that I think has thrown off cosmic balance. And really, when I say that, I'm actually talking about He Who Remains balance. Okay? So it is possible that Peter Parker and what is going on with him, because here's something I keep thinking about, okay? Here's something I keep thinking about. I haven't fully developed this idea, but it's certainly something that I'm like playing around with. So if Doctor Strange vaguely remembers the Prime universe where the Fantastic Four were there, and that's partially why he refers to them as a band, right? Which is something Alex talked about. Well, isn't that like weirdly similar to the spell that Steven cast that gets the entire multiverse to forget Peter Parker? Like, aren't those really similar ideas? And is it possible that forgetting who you are, or rather a spell that gets a person to forget who they are, is it possible that that causes some kind of cosmic, or maybe, you know, having to do with eternity? Is there some kind of decay that could be happening there, right? Is there something about Peter forgetting who he is that's going to interfere with maybe the spell or the concepts that Kang used to get everybody to forget about the Prime universe? Like, do you see what I mean? Like, there's maybe something there. So, like, Peter, and although this movie could very much just be like basic Spider-Man, you know, adventure, feels like it's that dialed up to 12, the Amazing Spider-Man energy or whatever. What if some of the stuff that's being done in this film is something that Kang's doing? Because he's like, bro, you're fucking with the timelines. You're fucking with my plan here. I can't let this happen. And then Dr. Doom swoops in, and he's like, your plan's bullshit, dog. We're over you. It's Dr. Doom time now. No data. No data. Are we back? Are we back? Okay, great. I'm glad we're back, because I'm about to talk a bunch of shit on all of you guys. And I didn't want you to miss this, okay? Exhibit A. As to why all of you Marvel fans are goddamn ridiculous. Literally all of you that gave me so much shit, because I was like, get that Kang out of my face. I'm over Kang. I don't want Kang. Just do Doom. Just do Doom. Get Kang out of my face. Literally, like, the vast majority of you that were saying all of that, sending all of that energy my way, are now saying, no, you're wrong. Can't be Kang. That would be stupid. So, day in the life, huh? Yeah, another day in the Marvel fandom. Not just another day in the Marvel fandom. Hey, just one more Friday at the Den of Nerves, baby. Baby. Shit. Yeah. And the best I can do is just try to love you guys anyway. You know what I mean? Accept your flaws, understand you, and just try to love you anyway. So that's what I'm going to do, you know? Yeah. All right, any questions, comments, concerns about that shit? I thought Josh was the one who was over Kang. What? What? Oh, yeah, Alex's post? Okay. Let's find it. What did Alex say? Alex, what did you say? Oh, somebody probably tagged me with this. Alex, what did you say? Mr. Rossi says, "Can we watch the pitch meeting for Superman? It's 5 minutes." Hell yeah! Let's do this article first, and then we'll do that. Okay. Let's do this article first, and then we'll do that. Okay, breaking news, ladies and gentle beings. A new Q&A over on the Cosmic Circus. They do tend to tease out and spoil a lot of fun shit over there, you know? So let's see what they have to say. Wonder Man, don't care. X-Men, Alex, a certain fast one, Jake Schreier's film. I don't see any MCU characters crossing over for the X-Men films until we get an actual crossover film. As for who I'd like to see, Miss Marvel? Jesus Christ. No. What characters are you most excited for to adapt the MCU version of the X-Men? Gambit and Nightcrawler. Mr. Sinister is the antagonist. Yeah, that all seems fun. Let's see here. Alex with Marvel Studios, box office, blah, 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 multiple effect, blah, blah, blah. I genuinely doubt we'll get stuff like that. What do you mean? Okay, stuff connected to the actual stones. That's kind of interesting. I generally doubt we'll ever see stuff like that. Q&As where your dream pairing. Wiccan and Hulkling, okay. Unfortunately, that's what they're planning to do when the project get folded in the project. Okay, so the question here is lots of planned stuff just scrapped. How many are we going to see in Secret Wars, British Intelligence, Sonya and Gaia and Cap? Oh my God. Who are these people? Is this just Alex like asking himself stuff on sock puppets? Because like nobody gives a fuck about Sonya, Gaia, Captain Britain, White Tiger. Jesus Christ. Okay, we're planning to do many other projects. Shang-Chi 2, Black Panther 3, Strange Academy. Okay. Not really. I'd say more general. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so somewhere up here he talks about, what, the Empire and all that? Where's the Empire shit? Judgment Day project is reportedly in the works at Marvel Studios. Yeah, no shit. No shit. We know about that for years. Okay, so this is not a good one. This is not a good Q&A, dude. So, yeah. Those are my thoughts. By the way, no idea why Alex Perez isn't nice to me in the DMs, you know? I'm so pleasant. Such a pleasant motherfucker. Groknak. Welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. All right, so should we do some pitch meeting, eh? Judgment Day was mid, but there's some cool stuff in there they could play with. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Unbanned Delta Dan. Who? All right, remind me later. Jeez. Okay, what are we watching here? Pitch meeting? Bro, this is crazy. The Man of Steel pitch meeting from a month ago has more views than the Superman pitch meeting. God, just restore the Snyderverse. You know what I mean? Like, fucking Peacemaker and shit. Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. Pitch meeting. Superman.
So, you have a new Superman movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. Oh, boy, this is gonna be so dark and depressing. Actually, I was thinking the exact opposite. Oh, so you mean we're gonna include some jokes like, he's right behind me, isn't he? And, well, that just happened. Well, you know, hopefully a step up from that. Impossible. Those are the funniest jokes in the world. That's why Marvel uses them so much. I'm just thinking we make this a little more lighthearted and infuse some jokes here and there. Here and there? What does that mean? Everywhere. Oh, my God. Let no scene go unjoked, okay?
Oh,
so anyway,
shit.
in this movie, Superman's gonna lose a fight for the first time ever. Oh, boy, I can't wait to watch what that's gonna be like with my eyes and see it. Oh, no, the movie starts immediately after that happens. Oh, but don't worry, sir. Superman's constantly gonna get his butt kicked in this movie.
Right.
What? Just manhandled and woman-handled
It's true.
over
It's
and over
true.
again. All right. So
Hey, Superman fans, you seething right now? Because I love the movie, but take your fucking medicine. Your boy delivered a bitch-ass Superman, got his ass kicked up and fucking down.
Anyway, with the help
and
of
shit.
Crypto the dog, he gets back to the Fortress of Solitude and gets patched up by robots and sunshine. Well, great! So then he goes back to the fight and gets beat up again by this dude. Who is this guy that keeps beating up Superman? Well, he's the Hammer of Boravia.
And why? Why didn't Superman just use his fucking X-ray vision to find out this was his clone? Like, at any point in the film, why did he just use his X-ray vision? Does he not have X-ray vision?
Oh. Except he's not. Oh, he's not. He's actually a masked metahuman named Ultraman. Oh, he is. Kind of not. What are you who is this guy? Well, see, under the mask, he's actually a clone of Superman being controlled by Lex Luthor. Is he? Yes, I'm done with the identity twists. Or am I?
go,
Yes, I
dude.
am. Okay, cool.
Let's
And how does
go.
Lex control this guy? Well, he shouts commands at his henchmen, and those commands are various fight moves, so he's
love
able
this
to beat
fight. I love this
Superman that
aspect of
way.
it.
Isn't Superman, like, incredibly fast? Well, yeah, but his speed is no match for the speed of a guy yelling orders at another guy who then enters the orders into a computer, and then a clone does those moves. Yeah, I guess that doesn't leave a lot of reaction time. So anyway, also Clark and Lois are dating, and she knows he's Superman. Oh, interesting dynamic.
And also, too, isn't it funny that, like, Clark didn't pick up with his super hearing that Lex was doing the moves? Like, seriously, was Clark a crackhead? Like, gun. Did they give him crack? Like, what? Did they give him crack?
He agrees to be interviewed by her as Superman, but they get into a little argument. How come? Because maybe he did a little war crime, maybe not. Been there. He may have slightly tortured a world leader. Torture-related relationship troubles are tight. Yeah, see, he stopped this powerful fictional nation from attacking a less powerful fictional nation. Fiction is wild. What an imagination you have. Thank you. And now Lex wants to distract Superman so he can go fiddle around in the Fortress of Solitude, so he releases a kaiju in Metropolis. Extremely rude. So Superman wants to stop this thing without killing it, but then this trio of heroes called the Justice Gang pop in, and they just straight up kill the thing. Oh, the Justice Gang, huh? We should have them bicker about their name throughout the whole movie. What? That's one of the funniest things you can do in a superhero movie. That's why Marvel does that so much. Okay, I guess. So the Justice Gang is this Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, and then there's Hawk Girl, and then there's Mr. Terrific, the guy from Shark Tank. No, and so Lex and his goons, they decrypt this message from Superman's parents, and turns out they wanted him to take over the world, so they broadcast that to Earth. Well, how can they be sure it's not fake? Well, Mr. Terrific tells Superman he knows the guys that verified this, and they're legit. Well, couldn't Lex have bribed or threatened them? Impossible! Get all the way off my back about that. Okay, let me get off of that thing. So then another big monster attacks the city. Oh no, so what does Superman do? He lets the Justice Gang handle it. He's gotta go talk about his feelings. Fair enough. So then he decides to explain himself to the world and reassure everyone he means them no harm. Turn himself in. That works too. And the government gives him to Lex, who shoves him in a prison cell in a pocket universe. How can he keep Superman in a cell? See, Lex also captured this guy Metamorpho who can turn himself into things, so he
Trent says, is Brosnahan weird or not? Here's how I'll answer that question. We should all find out what Blake Lively's opinion of it is.
turns himself into kryptonite. Why would he do that? Because Lex kidnapped his little baby. Oh my goodness. So they work together, and along with the help of Krypto and Mr. Terrific and Lois, they get out of the pocket universe. Hey, if Lex wants Superman dead, why not just kill him right away with this kryptonite dude? Well, because then the movie would be over, and it's not quite time for that yet. Understandable, carry on. So now frickin' Lex opens an unstable portal to the pocket universe and creates a dimensional rift that starts splitting Metropolis. Oh, those are words. Dangerous words. So Metropolis literally starts getting torn in half. Wow, so tons of people must die. Well, no, because they evacuate the city. Just a city full of people all manage to leave immediately? Yes, but now at the exact same time, that frickin' one nation wants to attack the other one again. Oh man, gonna be tough to deal with both those things at once.
You know, honestly, dude, Superman, like if you... Here's what I'll say. We have some people in the community that have brought up, in my opinion, some of the silliest questioning of like the Fantastic Four's plot. And the truth is, if you just even apply a little bit of logic to the Superman plot, it folds like a lawn chair. Like, this is not a good plot. It is a convenient plot for some really good character stuff, but it is not a good plot. These DC fans are like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? Brother, what about Superman not being fucking Superman? You know what I'm saying? Like, that, tonally, sure. But, like, he's so fucking bad at being Superman. Like, it's crazy.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, Superman sends Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner and Metamorpho to go handle that over there, because teamwork makes the dream work. What do we call that teamwork? Delegation makes the dream work. There it is. So anyway, then Mr. Terrific manages to close the rift, and Lex admits that he orchestrated this whole thing to make the world hate Superman. A very sneaky bald man. And Lois exposes the truth to the world, so Lex, he's gonna be in big trouble. Wow, well, just goes to show you, billionaires always get held accountable for their sketchy behavior. Well, sounds like a great movie. Yeah, you think? Yeah, I just think it's missing a little bit of hype building for the future of the DCU. I could slap a quick cameo right at the end. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Ryan George from The Thing.
And you know what? You know what? You're lucky he didn't make the Man of Steel box office comparison. You're fucking lucky, you gun gooners. All right, anyway, that was cool. Good job. Good job as usual. Good job as usual. Like, how did he not hear with his super hearing? Like, seriously. Like, what's up with that? God, what a... I'm going to be thinking about that all fucking day now. And then he literally does not use his X-ray vision to find out who this person is the entire time. The clone. Like, I don't know. I would say, if I were Superman, right? Which, like, I basically am Superman, let's be real. But if I were Superman, the first fucking thing I would do would be to use my super senses to find out everything I could know about this person. Like, super smell. You could smell like the literally, like, to a degree that fucking humans cannot. You could hear everything. You could hear their heartbeat. You could hear the fucking sweat coming off of it. Like, you could literally see how their organs were going. You could see their heart rate. You could see their blood pressure. This dude, yeah, but he doesn't wear the armor the whole time, Vandolph. And if, I mean, like, I understand what you're saying, but, like, I just think you're farting into the wind or pissing into the wind because there's just so much of it that doesn't really make sense when you think about it. The explanation is he's not a good Superman. Like, unfortunately for the plot, the best explanation is that he's really not a good Superman. Which, like, they kind of lean into a little bit in the film because, like, his plans are just so stupid. But, yeah, that's just, you know, not that great, really. Not that great. I can't see Doom being as iconic as Thanos. Brother, if you would have said that shit before Marvel made the Infinity... Like, imagine that take before the MCU. That is a wild take. Anybody that's ever picked up a comic, even if they're blind, knows that that shit is not true. Like, that is so silly. That's quite a take, man. Yeah. Who is Thanos? Good question. I'm not sure. Good question. I'm not sure. What's your take on Gunn pivoting from the gods to monsters to the Superman saga? Well, I think the gods and monsters is the arc, like the overall arc. I would say the Superman saga is probably like the first part of that. You know, to give Gunn a little bit of credit here, I think when he was first describing gods and monsters, he describes it as like the 10-year plan. And he said there would be like different chapters within it. So when he first brings it up, he's like, this is the first chapter of this thing. And so in that sense, a saga could still work within that. But in terms of MCU, yeah, Thanos on top, there's no setup for Doctor Doom. You know, again, I've said this a million times. Look, I mean, stop me if you've heard this one before. You give hot take, I say take terrible, I say my take good. So let's do that dance again, Ben. Check this out. Brother, you didn't know shit about Thanos before Infinity War. You didn't know shit. He had been in like 5 minutes of this fucking thing. It was Infinity War that built the character up. Also, Zack Snyder sucks. Here we go. I could do this all day, bro. I could do this all day, baby. Anybody else got an internet-brained, social media-dictated take that they'd like me to dissect? Are there any, like, thinkers out there? Does anybody have their own opinion? Jeez. Yeah, he talked on a chair in Guardians. Oh, bro, the fucking setup was peak, bro. The fucking setup was peak, dude. Remember when he was on the chair? Remember when he was like, fine, I'll do it myself? I knew exactly what that shit meant. What development? What setup? Holy shit. Dug a ditch. Thanks for the 10, brother. Says, when people say Pattinson could become the DCU's main Batman, I really don't get it. How the hell could the dark and gritty tone of the Batman ever mesh with the playful, cartoony tone of Gunn's Superman? Well, they would both adjust their tone. They would both slightly change the tone so that it works better together. And then they probably find a way to use the juxtaposition of those tones in really interesting character moments. Sometimes played for serious stuff, sometimes maybe played for a laugh. JBK says, I mean, as iconic for the mainstream. I don't understand the context of that. In reality, they convinced everyone the whole MCU was building towards Thanos and the same that we're going to do it for Doom. Yeah, you guys are going to watch Doomsday, and then you're going to be like, oh, shit, I can't believe they paid that off. Oh, shit, that was that? Oh, wow, that's really clever. If they do their job right, you know? Can you go over the Star-Lord news that Alex mentions? It's pretty cool. Was it, like, hidden beneath the Miss Marvel terrible take? Where's that in there? Star-Lord? Star-Lord? I don't see shit about Star-Lord. Oh, he'll be back in the new team of unlikely heroes, not Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, it's Annihilators. Do you guys pay attention? God, I probably sound like such a prick to some of you. You're like, who's this fucking guy? He's being so mean. We all throw money at him and support his dreams. And he just comes out here and is an asshole. Yeah, I'm sorry, okay? I'm fucking sorry. It's a part of the charm. DJCC Ryder says, do you think they were going to make Gina a Mando? Much love, homie. Also, can you go on a Warhammer rant for the guys that don't like it and we'll all laugh? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Now I'm fired up. Let me see if I can find this meme here. I had a really good meme for this exact moment. But I don't know if I saved it. I don't know if I saved it. No, I don't think I did. Gina Amando. No, but they were going to make her, you know, it's kind of interesting, too. There is some Star Wars news out there where there's a new movie in development. Maybe Rogue Squadron is back in development. There's a chance that the Rogue Squadron news is connected to Gina. You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance, and, like, especially because if Kathy goes, like, and what did we just talk about? We just talked about all this stuff and course correction. That's what I always said about the Gina situation. And there's going to be, like, you know, a dozen of you that about it in chat. But the reality is, from a messaging place, getting Gina back is a great PR messaging to a bunch of scorned fans. You might not like that. It does not matter. It's business. So I could actually see them doing that, because Gina is actually the perfect person for this, because she's, like, actually sweet. This isn't like, let's prop up Jared Leto, even though we know all that shit. This is like, oh, this is actually a genuinely sweet person. We can actually use her as a front-facing example of how we understood we didn't always do everything correctly, and we can appeal to certain audiences and stuff like that. Like I'm telling you, that is it. That would be a good move, in my opinion. So maybe they will. And how do we know that for sure? Wait, what do you mean? What part? You gotta be more specific, dude. You know? How about this? I'm gonna go pee, and I'll come back in here, and I'll rant a little bit about Warhammer, and then we'll get on out of here, okay? Does that sound okay? Does that sound good? By the way, are you guys having fun? You guys having fun today? Was it a good day? Am I doing a good job? Please unban Delta Dance. He's an OG. Cool. Ban Cool Bear. We will unban Delta Dance, but you have to tell me at a different time. Wash your hands? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Shit. Man, I still don't feel super great. Delta Dan, more like Delta Ban is probably what you meant there. Justice for Dan. It could also tie into their one chance to win. Yes, which I think would be pretty brilliant if they figure out a good way to do it. Smell your hands. Smells like hands. Who's that? Who's that back there? Lukey? Come here, bud. You want to come up here and say hi? What? Come here. Lukey! What the hell, man? Luke's like camera shy. Like, he doesn't like being on camera. Leia's good. Hey, Leia. You want to come say hi? Come here. Hello. Come here. Up here. Come here. Leia, come here. Up here. Come here. Come here, sweetie. Good girl. See, she likes the camera, man. Whoa. She likes the camera. Luke doesn't like the camera. Oh. You know what I found out about dogs, too, the other day? Yes, I will definitely check that. I will get into the super chat. Jeez, man. Just let me chill for a second. So, you guys ever had this thing where your dog just, like, won't stop licking you? And it can be, like, all irritating and stuff? So, I found out... You want to come up here? You want to come up here? You can come up here. Yeah. Oh, sweet girl. Sweet girl. I found out that a lot of what that is they're literally, like, feeling your emotions through taste. That, like, they pick up on, like, your pheromones and your hormones and all these different things. They can actually taste if you're stressed. And part of it, too, is them trying to, like alleviate it. Right? So, like, if you've ever been down or you're really stressed out or, like, something is bugging you and your dog comes over and, like, just won't stop licking you, that's actually usually what it is. They're, like, trying to taste your emotions and actually help soothe you. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Kind of interesting. The more you know. The more you know. All right, Mr. Jazz says, with a 10 spot, that's very generous, brother, says, with your theory in mind, what if Strange is already aware of Doom via the Time Stone? Think about when he looked at other timeline and outcomes in Endgame. Maybe this comes out in Doomsday. It absolutely could. I actually really like that. I think you're onto something there. I think there could be something there. Yeah, and then you follow it up with it could be their one chance to win. I would really like that if they tied that together. I don't know how you guys would feel about that. Steve, welcome back, brother. Let's see if I caught anything or I missed anything. Pattinson. Yeah, the Pattinson thing, man, it's just a tonal balance. And that's Batman and Superman just in general. Doom, Brosnan, welcome to the, can we pitch meeting Superman? All right, I think we're good here. I think we caught up on everything, man. I think we caught up on everything. Okay, guys, I'm going to chill for, how long have we been going? 2 hours? I'll chill for like 10 more minutes. What do y'all want to get into? Got any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns? Missed the 11 month from Blaine Slack. Let's see here. Oh, okay. What if this Tremel Tillman is Norman Osborn? I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But I don't think so. You gonna rant on Warhammer? I don't know. I figure I'll spare you guys today. I figure I'll spare some of you. Here's what I'll say about Warhammer. So I've been working on, obviously, Warhammer videos for the Warhammer Explained channel. Just got back like a 27-minute video, which is actually going to end up being longer because I have to add some stuff to it. But a 27-minute long video all about the Emperor of Mankind. I got fucking chills listening to some of the parts of this video. Like, this is a very good video. So... I have Warhammer content that we're cooking, and like, man, it's just straight bangers. Like, the scripts are bangers. The way I've been making these videos, because I'm taking my time and I'm really making them really good. Like, the music choices are incredible. The sound effects are incredible. The editing is great. It's really cool. Yeah. New Warhammer video game coming out. Looks great. Yes, it does. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Yeah, first gaming, 100%. So the way I'm going to approach this channel, right? Because I have 2 Warhammer channels I'm going to drop soon, actually. One of them is more like a podcast, just face cam. I want to be able to get stuff out really quick. Okay? The other will be Warhammer Explained, which is like, I'm actually just going to build like a library or like an archive. So I'm really taking my time on those videos. Those are going to come out very slowly. And what I'm going to do is, as I expand my knowledge in the lore, I will expand that library, right? So one of the scripts I was working on yesterday is the Dark Angels. And because the Dark Angels are my army, my Space Marine army, I know a lot about the Dark Angels. I've read several Dark Angels books. I have their codexes, and I've looked into the lore there. So my Dark Angels video is great. And I just know for sure, if I were to go make a Necron video right now, it would not have nearly the depth, nuance, or interesting elements that this Dark Angels video has. So Warhammer is very vast. It's almost endless what you can get into. I'm not going to make detailed videos until I do detailed research and read several of those books. So yeah, it's going to be fun though, because it'll be like a book club almost. As I get into more stuff, I'll learn more and, do all that. Hey, can you unban me on the Discord? I won't talk politics. I don't want to be in the first place, but shit was out of control. Were you banned this morning? If you were banned this morning, you're just timed out. I just timed out like 5 or 6 people this morning for 24 hours. It was my fault, actually, because I started talking about some crazy, wild shit, like political, religious stuff. And then everybody obviously wanted to give their take. But then they just wouldn't stop, And so I left it alone for a little bit. I just kept like coming back in, and it was just worse and worse and worse. So I timed like a bunch of people out for 24 hours. It's not a big deal. You guys will be back, and you'll probably be back to being as annoying about it. But that moment, I needed to stop that. There was no way we were going to get out of that without me just doing a Thanos snap. Yeah, you'll be back. You'll be fine. Darth Snape 66 with a 10 spot and a cheers. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that 10, man. Damn, that's bad. Nothing bad about it. Nothing bad about it, brother. Just life. That's life. That's life. Gotta moderate that wild Discord. Absolutely. You wild boys, you wild girls, you need moderated. Do you like Alien Earth? Hell yeah, dude. Alien Earth is cool. Alien Earth is cool. I would only get into Warhammer for the dinosaurs. That being said, intrigue me. Warhammer, man. Warhammer's like the final boss of being a nerd. It has like this is the craziest level of lore I've ever encountered. Everything is so specific in Warhammer, man. It's like, it's just wild. But I don't think I actually have to waste too much more of my breath on explaining why Warhammer is going to take over. I'm just going to let Warhammer take over. And then I was watching a video on, you guys know who Adam Savage is? Adam Savage? I was watching a video from him the other day, and he was talking about how he used to beef with Jamie, who was the other guy on Mythbusters. And they used to like get into these arguments all the time. But he said that eventually he realized that he could try to solve the problem right then and there, or maybe this is a problem that the world will solve for him. And there's actually, it's kind of silly to spend so much of your own personal energy trying to solve a problem that the world is just going to solve for you over time. And I think that's the thing with Warhammer. Bitch Boy 3167 with 5 gifted memberships. Hell yeah, thank you, Bitch Boy. I always thought you were dope, Bitch Boy. And let this be a lesson to all of you. It's okay to be a bitch boy, as long as you gift members. It was infamously known that those guys hated each other. I don't think they hated each other. They had a unique clashing of personalities, which led to a lot of conflict. But to be honest with you, that is a part of the juice. That's what made it work, you know? A little bit of conflict is good, man. Like, do you guys really want to just work with people that you 100% gel with and there's no conflict whatsoever? That's so boring. I think that's part of the reason why we love this community. We're always fucking fighting with each other. You know? I look at the Discord, literally, deadass. Every time I open up the Discord, within the 5 messages of scrolling up, somebody's fighting with somebody about something. Every single fucking time. What up, nerd friendos? What up? Is that why I'm still married to my wife? Oh, man. I don't want to answer that. I don't want to answer that. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Right on, man. I go to my local comic shop and I watch these guys on the back tables play Warhammer. They're on another level of gaming. Yeah, it's serious. Serious shit, man. Serious shit. I'm real serious about my Warhammer. A small octagon for you guys to duel it out. There's definitely nothing that could go wrong there. No liability, no bad publicity. That's a beautiful idea, man. Why didn't I think of that? Charlie. That's funny. That's funny, man. Hey, you guys got any cool plans this weekend? Anybody do anything cool? What's the community getting into this weekend, man? What are y'all doing? Anybody got any really exciting plans, dude? Come on. John White says, hello, fellow veneers. Been a while. Been watching a replay because of chemo treatment, but I'm cancer-free and back, baby. Thanks for being here. Hey, John White, congratulations, man. It's got to feel so good, brother. You beat it. Let's get some W's in the chat. Get some W's in the chat for John White, my man. Woo! Making shitty games for my website. Nice. Yeah, that's a huge W. Going over to a brother's house to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance on the PS3. Bro, that sounds like fun. Whoa, that sounds really fun. Continuing my Multiverse Saga rewatch. Nice. Nice. So tomorrow, we're taking Liam to his first movie in the theaters. Okay? And it is a sing-along showing of K-pop Demon Hunter. And I'm actually excited. I think it's going to be really cool. He loves that movie. He loves singing. And he loves hanging out with other kids and playing and all that. So we're going to go on Saturday. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I'll try to take some pictures or whatever. I think it's going to be adorable. Probably a bunch of families in there. And everybody's like singing along and shit. So it'll be cool. Disney on Ice. I've heard it was good. Yeah, I've heard it was good. Low-key a good movie. I mean, it's got to be... It can't be terrible. You know, it's blowing up. Yeah. Should I play Dark Tide this weekend? Have you played it? I have not played it. It's just not my favorite type of game. I've played a lot of Warhammer games. It looks really fun if you're into that sort of stuff. It's like a version of like Black Ops Zombies or whatever. But yeah, just not my thing. Stream today was gas, fire, flames. Also, Josh, do you post on Instagram at all? Like, barely here and there. I'll post on Instagram, yeah. I might sign a deal with Meta, and then I have to sign, and then I'll have to post a lot on Instagram. But I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided. We'll see. I'm gonna spend the weekend reading nothing but political comics, aka just comics. Dude, nice hot take, man. You know, the timing, the structure. Well done, sir. Well done. You've made your point and shattered all the opposition to you. Josh about to sell his soul to Bezos. Wrong billionaire, but yeah. Please don't sign a deal with the internet info cult, aka Meta. I like Zuck. Zuck's my favorite of the billionaires now. You know why? Jiu-jitsu, baby. Jiu-jitsu, baby. Hey, bitch boy! Welcome to the Nerd Vengers! Wait, so this is not the den of religious talks? No, it is not. No. Favorite reptile? Yeah, he's one of the good ones. He's one of the good ones. Getting sucked. Jeez. Jeez. No, I don't roll. I don't roll. But I respect jiu-jitsu. I respect jiu-jitsu as a sport and as an art. I'm more of a Muay Thai guy myself. Although, frankly, I don't do any of that shit anymore. But I did grow up. My father's a martial artist. He's owned many martial arts schools. And so obviously martial arts was a big part of my life. But it was more, the art we studied is more like Muay Thai than jiu-jitsu. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like my dad, you know, it's interesting having that, and I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of people just aren't around combat sports like that or whatever. But can you imagine what it would be like if you have you ever seen the movie The Foot Fist Way? Now that's a comedy, and it's really funny. It's like a Danny McBride film. It's really, really crazy. But like my life was actually not too far off of that. Like, can you imagine if your father had multiple black belts and literally had a martial arts school as his business? How do you think that would have affected your upbringing? You know what I mean? Like, do you think if Kang is added to the fold, will Doomsday Secret Wars change any? Well, I mean, will it change? Yeah, it's one of the most dynamic movies ever. I think it'll change a lot in the next couple of months. I think what they're doing right now, by the way, is making an assembly cut of the film, and then they're going to screen it for themselves and other people, and then they're going to literally do all sorts of punch-ups, all sorts of new scenes, and then they're going to do the reshoots. So they're basically making the movie right now, and then they're going to remake it. But it'll be, I would imagine it's going to be pretty similar. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could take. They're going to see how it works, and then they're going to adjust it. Comic Saga? Would you work that art into Unity? I'm not sure what that is. The Comic Saga? I don't know what that is, brother. Would you have been a fan if they had Battleworld series and movies before the end of the era of Marvel? Granted, they didn't script the whole multiverse. Hell yeah, man. That would be cool. There's still hope for some of that stuff. Yeah, we'll see. But guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Hopefully more streams next week. I would imagine I'll feel a lot better on Monday. Hey, buddy, come here. Come here. It's all right. Come here. Hang on. You all right? No, I'm streaming. You okay with being on camera? You want to say hi?
Hi, Mom.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
You feel better?
Yeah.
Did you have a good time at Grammys?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Say hi, chat.
Hi, chat.
Say, be nice to my dad, chat.
Hi, chat.
Good enough. All right, you want to go back with Mama? I'm going to finish up. I'm almost done.
No.
Okay, you don't, huh? What do you want to do? You want to stay? You want to stay with Dad?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you give me just a minute, I'm almost done, and I'll come hang out with you. Okay?
Dada needs mama.
Yes, Dada needs mama. I'm gonna be right there, okay? All right, I love you, buddy. You go over there, okay?
No, mama. Dada. No, mama.
All right. Well, then you got to close out the show with me. That's how it's gonna go then, okay? Say, as I always say,
As I say,
I hope you
I hope you
are having an awesome
awesome
and nerdy
and naughty
day.
day.
And I'll see you. And I'll see you. Can you say it? And I'll see you. Oh, he sees himself now.
Look,
Yeah, that's you. And say, and I'll see you
and see you
in the next
in the next
video.
video.
Good job. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. I gotta get out of here because he finally left the room. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you soon. Open up your third eye, wash out your butt, you know, all that shit. I'll see you later. Peace out. Hey, somebody help Matt's multiverse out, for God's sake.